Over here. This would be a original cabinet that they had to put back together. You read it? What? This was the Points of Pines Cabins. Oh, 18.
Sorry. I'm sorry. That's all right.
I miss so many children and done let me study my growth, and that's why I ain't nothing but bone to this day. When the colored woman has to cut cane all day till midnight, come in after, I have to nurse the babies for them and tend to the white children too. Some of them babies so fat and big I had to tote the feet while another gal tote the head. I such a little woman, about 7 or 8 years old.
It's double X drill bit. It's a drill bit. It's a drill bit.
We had to steal away at night to have church on the ditch bank and crawl home on the belly. Once the overseers hear us praying, give us one day, 100 flashes. My father was not allowed to see my mother but 2 nights a week. That was Wednesday and Saturday. So he often came home all bloody from his beatings. My mother would take those bloody clothes off him, bathe the sore places and grease them good, and wash and iron his clothes so he could go back clean.
If Aunt Mary was feeding her own baby, Master John would tell Aunt Mary to go on and nurse his baby first. Aunt Mary.
No, right here. Oh, sorry.
Put them to work for the year Washington each day. The actions of African Americans helped convince him to issue the Emancipation Proclamation, a January 1st, 1863. The military opened up its ranks to African American soldiers who became, in essence, a liberating army. Wearing the uniform of the United States, black soldiers consciously built a foundation for citizenship and voting rights, long denied to African Americans North and South. Almost 180,000 black soldiers served in the most brutal battles of the war. They risked their lives, even though they faced harsh discrimination. Susie King Taylor, a Union nurse, remembered. The first colored troops did not receive any pay. Finally, the government decided to give them half pay, but the men would not accept it. They wanted full pay or nothing. Joining the fight for freedom, women and children built schools, nursed the sick and wounded, and provided food and shelter, extending the groundwork for a free society. African American men, women, and children changed the tide of the war. Through their words and actions, they changed the course of our nation. Turned the war over the Union into a fight for freedom, resulting in the emancipation of 4 million enslaved African Americans.
To nurture the communities they have built. African Americans continue to claim the right to belong. Each year, on Emancipation Day, they took to the streets. Together, black labor unions, churches, fraternal orders, and women's clubs organized parades to celebrate emancipation while calling attention to the promises made but not yet fulfilled. Following the war, and African Americans refused to let freedom and the fight for equality fade from view. Across the nation, they gathered to celebrate the abolition of slavery and assert their rights to education, fair labor, legal protections, and the vote. On plantations, in small towns and cities, African Americans acted on their own behalf. They built schools, churches, and businesses. Visible displays of independence and achievement. Toward black Americans was still pervasive, and the state governments passed laws resembling slavery. African Americans in Virginia spoke out. We have no right to testify before the courts in which a white man is one of the parties to the suit. We are defenseless before our enemies. Give us the suffrage to secure justice for ourselves. Under President Andrew Johnson, there was no federal protection, and African Americans became targets of terrorism. Their symbols of freedom went up in flames. Outraged, Congress took control and divided the South into military districts, requiring those states to write new constitutions and ratify the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery. At the local level, African Americans continued to push for equal rights. They demanded civil rights and celebrated the passage of the 14th Amendment, which granted African Americans citizenship and equal protection under the law. And they pressed for the right to vote, which was secured in part by the 15th Amendment. With the vote, African Americans ushered in change and held elective office in every southern state. They instituted the South's first public school systems, fair labor laws, and debt relief. With more than 1,500 African American men in elected office, Black voters recognized the impact of the political power they now held. They pressed to expand American freedoms in the House and in the Senate. Representative Robert B. Elliott, speaking to the House of Representatives, said, "It is a matter of regret to me that it is necessary at this day that I should rise in the presence of an American Congress to advocate a bill which simply asserts equal rights and equal public privileges for all classes of American citizens." Uncomfortable with Black citizenship, the Supreme Court began to chip away at equal rights. Terrorist organizations like the Ku Klux Klan waged war on African Americans and their political allies. They formed armed combat units to block polling places and fire on Black voters. Many were murdered without consequence as they tried to cast their vote. Reconstruction came to an end when Democrats swept the South during the 1876 presidential election using fraud and violence. The Republicans did not fight back. They compromised. In exchange for the presidency, Rutherford B. Hayes agreed to withdraw federal troops from the South. This left African American voters defenseless against murder and fraud. Elections were stolen, and Black representation nationwide was stripped. Some African Americans resisted by leaving the South. Others stayed to nurture the communities they had built.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Working on my cat. That's my grandma. Florida? No, grandma Maryland. She was.
I'm sorry. Pardon me. Sorry.
I want them to try that shit now.
They do.
Yeah,
They
well,
have been.
they ain't gonna get away with it now. Like you been trying to do this shit now.
They wanted to pay her $100 each for her to forget about it.
For her to forget that they raped her. And that's her husband sitting next to her, huh?
Yeah, they raped her. It's like he sold her.
Mm-mm.
They raped her.
I can't, I'm trying to read it, but I can't see. Well, let me see, okay.
6 of them. 6 white men. He's considered it.
I'm sorry.
Protest marches, boycotts, and immediate events were staples of the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Yet, these tactics and others were used by African Americans decades earlier. In 1917, thousands of African Americans marched in New York to protest racial violence. And in 1921,